Have you ever wondered what a day in the life of Jesus might look like? Well, look no further because today's gospel has everything you're looking for. We see today in the gospel what Jesus does in a typical day of his ministry. It kind of gives us a sort of model. If we didn't get every single day of his life in those 3 years of his ministry, we can see here what it probably looked like when he's in the town of Capernaum. It says that he goes to the house of Simon and he sees that Simon's mother in law is sick there. They prevail upon him to pray with her. And he heals her of this fever that she has as she immediately waits on them. Then it says at the end of the day, people come from all over the city to bring him this people who are sick, who are infected with diseases, people who have demons in them, and he cures them all. He drives out the demons, and he preaches the gospel with power. Then he goes early in the morning off to pray. It says that he goes off to a deserted place, presumably to pray. And then he comes back and says he has to go out to the other towns and villages. This is what Jesus' life looked like in a sense, that he was always preaching, he was always teaching, he was always healing. I think it's important for us to know that the message of the gospel always comes with power. The message of the gospel is not just words, it's not just something we read or something we hear, but it is something that strikes to the heart when it is really truly preached as Jesus preached it. Theologians say even that Jesus is the gospel in person. If you come into contact with him, you cannot help but be changed by the power of that gospel. As baptized Christians, we are called to go forth and preach that gospel. Our lives are, in a certain sense, to look like Jesus' life, to preach the gospel with all that we do, with all that we say, and to go forth each day so that other people know the love of God and the good news that Jesus has saved us from sin and death. The bad news being that the devil is always tempting us to sin and always wanting to lead us toward death. But Jesus has won the victory once and for all. Let us go forth today reminding ourselves of that call that we have to preach the gospel and to preach it with power. To not be ashamed of that message because it is one that is true and one that saves and one that truly changes the lives of those who hear it. We live in a world that is in desperate need of hearing the gospel. Go forth and preach it today, just as Jesus did each and every day of his ministry.